LSU. I said, they ain't ready for the LSU. No, they ain't ready for the LSU, huh? They ain't ready for the LSU. No, they ain't ready for the LSU. We the best in the league if you looking for talent. LSU going hard, but we beat Alabama, then we going off to Florida. Drown the Gators, everybody getting bucked when we step in the stadium. This the LSU anthem, you know it's a hit. You don't know another rapper two-step like this. See me screaming out the window, yelling purple and gold. I'm an LSU fan, girl, you know how we roll now. Back and back it on up, hey. 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 Way down in the back.
TA, we are live, and Reagan is joining from the car.
You may hear Zeke in the background.
Reagan, we know you're traveling, but we're glad to have you on the show. Looking forward to an awesome show, obviously. Going to have Duce on here shortly, but just want to give y'all a quick intro of what we're going to be doing. We're going to be interviewing Duce here shortly, and then after that, we're, of course, going to get into the big news of Walker Howard and his decision to enter the transfer portal. And then we'll have to cover basketball and obviously girls hot right now, guys in a little bit of danger of hitting a losing streak. Hopefully not. We'll see what happens. But let's go ahead and let's welcome Duce onto the show. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing good, and you?
Doing good, man. We're really excited to have you and to get to talk to you. I know we were talking a little bit beforehand, and you've done a couple interviews already. You know, obviously they've asked, what was your big decision in deciding to come to LSU? I want to first start off, Duce, by asking you. So we'll kind of stray away from that because I know you've already answered a lot of those questions. I'm sure a lot of people have asked you that a lot here recently. Look, I know in high school you played at a lot of different positions. You talked about playing corner. You talked about playing nickel. You talked about playing safety. Obviously, the Tigers, that they really needed some help in the DB room. Obviously, losing Jarek, Mekhi Garner, Colby Richardson, guys like that were transfers last year. They come in, make a big impact. I mean, you think about the game that Jarek had against Alabama. Mekhi was also just phenomenal this year. Those guys are transitioning out, and LSU needed DBs. You talked about on the interview with Jordy playing all those different positions. What's a position group, or is there a certain position group you're looking at, you're kind of eyeballing heading into LSU?
Definitely cornerback, but definitely getting play time at the nickel spot. You know, seeing a lot of great nickels from before, like Honey Badger, Jay Ward, and stuff like that. Just seeing the impact that nickel spot has for LSU. I'd definitely like to play a little bit of that to help the team out.
For sure. Is there a certain – you mentioned nickel, you mentioned Honey Badger, maybe not just LSU, but maybe a player right now that you really look up to in the NFL right now that you model your game after, that you would say?
I would probably say Patrick Peterson, just the versatility he had growing up. I always wanted to be that lockdown corner, but then also go back deep and catch a punt return and return one to the house. So that's kind of always who I looked up to, and that was always my favorite player. So it's kind of ironic for him to go to LSU. So,
I mean, like, I know me and Rain can kind of testify, like, Patrick Peterson is a major reason why, like, we became big time LSU fans. I mean, getting to watch him, in 2008, 2009, 2010, just ball out, like, it was awesome. Reagan, you got any questions for Duce?
Yeah, Duce. I mean, obviously, your freshman year, I mean, you really burst on the scene there at Syracuse. Freshman All-American honors. What do you think contributed for your ability to transition from high school to a Power 5 school so well to be able to do that? And speak a little bit too, if you don't mind, like what's that like for you? As a player transitioning from high school to the Power 5. And I mean, you had so much success. So I'm just curious, what was that like for you?
It was great. I had a great player that looked after me and like took me under his wing. I had Garrett Williams. He was already like a pro ready guy when I came in. So just being under him and him teaching me ways and stuff like that, just little things, and then just me implicating like my playmaking ability, my little instincts that I have, and just being able to make plays. So it was great freshman year. You know, I had a great freshman year making plays, just doing crazy things. So freshman year was definitely a great year for me.
You mentioned Reagan mentioned your accolades, things that you've gotten in your freshman year. Heading into this year, what are some goals that you are setting for yourself personally?
Personally, I'm trying to win it all this year. Jim Thorpe Award, All American, anything that you can get as a DB, that's what I'm trying to get this year. So, and definitely winning a national championship. That's the reason I came to LSU, to win a national championship. So that's definitely on my mind.
Reagan?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, set your goals high, right? I mean, why not? Duce, obviously, I mean, you're going to have a chance here early on at LSU to compete for a starting position. But, you know, I think it's no secret to you that, you know, they brought guys in like Denver Harris and J.K. Johnson. I mean, you and him kind of committed around the same time. And, of course, there's some freshmen coming in with Javen Taviano, and then Zy Alexander out of the portal as well. And then, of course, you got guys on the roster already, LaTerrence Welch. So, you know, for a player coming into now what is at once a room that needed help desperately is now a quite full room. You know, do you enjoy that kind of competition, like that, to look ahead and see like you're going to have some good competition to really earn your spot, and what does that mean for you as a player to come in and you know, compete for like that?
I feel like it's going to be the same thing as my freshman year. You know, I had to come in hungry, be a little more focused every day in practice because my spot wasn't given to me. I had to go earn it. So coming to LSU, I'm going to have to focus more, lock in every day in practice, and go earn my spot, and just like the other guys. So it's going to be definitely competitive, but I'm a competitive guy. I always want to compete. I always want to just go earn my spot and make my name for myself. So that's what I'm going to do here in Louisiana.
Reagan mentioned all those guys. Have you gotten a chance to reach out to anybody, whether it's a current player on the roster or another transfer portal guy that will be coming into LSU? Have you gotten the chance to reach out and talk with anybody and just get to kind of create a connection with any of those guys?
Yeah, I got the chance to spend time with Major Burns and Greg Brooks, and you know JK was on the visit with me, so I definitely got the chance to spend time with those guys. So definitely can't wait to build a brotherhood with them and make the DBU back great again.
Yeah, I mean, I know, like,
Absolutely.
For me and Reagan, like, we love guys like Greg Brooks and Major Burns. You know, I think back to the Bama game, and like a really underrated play was when McClellan broke free and Major Burns just tracked them down and honestly saved the touchdown. And ultimately they ended up kicking a field goal. I mean, that's a 4-point swing there in a game that ended in 1 point. So I know there's a lot of guys in there that I'm excited to interact with and to compete with and play alongside with. That's going to be really, really fun. Look, Duce, I know we've talked football a lot, and I know you've done that a lot as well. But look, we'll leave the comments open. If anybody wants to comment, send a question in, please do so, and we'll get to it. But I want to kind of stray away a little bit from football now. Duce, what's a hobby outside of football that you just really love and enjoy? Like for me, it's disc golf, and people look at me and they're like, "Why the heck do you play disc golf?" I don't know. It's fun. I get to be outside. It's free, and I'm kind of good at it. So, like, is there something that's outside of football that you just really enjoy?
Playing video games, and when I was at Syracuse, I used to make music with some of my teammates.
You make music.
Yeah, make music. Yeah.
So is it out there? Is it out in Spotify, Apple Music world?
No, I ain't putting no music out yet, but when I'm more settled in, I was already thinking about putting some music out, but when I'm more settled in and getting back into football and earning my stripes for LSU, so after that, then I'll try to put some music out.
All right. You said you play video games. Any particular video games you love to play?
Of course, 2K and Madden is the main two games I play. But I'm trying to get back into Call of Duty because all my friends play Call of Duty. So I'm trying to get back to Call of Duty and GTA.
Hey, look, man. All I'm saying is don't sleep on Rocket League. Look, I'm telling you, don't sleep on some Rocket League, man. I
Oh,
love me some Rocket League. Reagan's more the Call of Duty guy. Like I'm not really a shooter person, type game person, but like I do love some sports games. So I feel you on that. The Golden Boot is joining us. They said, Duce, how did you get the nickname with no E? So I'm guessing they're wondering why it's just DUCE and not DUECE.
So
DEUCE, however you spell it.
yeah, DUCE. So my dad wanted me to be different. So he didn't want it to have the E in it. So and he also is an Eagle fan. So he grew up watching Duce Staley and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
my name kind of came from that a little bit.
I kind of feel that because Zach, my name's Zach, and I have obviously it's like extremely common name, and my full name is Zachary. It's spelled ZACH, but for some reason my parents they didn't want to leave the H or put a K. Like they just wanted ZAC. So I
Right.
kind of understand that.
So,
in that aspect.
to kind of bounce off that name question, I saw your tweet the other day about being called Sub-Zero. So what's that playing? You must be playing Mortal Kombat too. What's with the Sub-Zero?
Oh yeah, definitely grew up on Mortal Kombat and just me having the zero last year and just wanting to have the mentality of having like a cold island, making it cold for receivers and stuff like that. So definitely just being a cold player. So yeah, I definitely want to carry that to Louisiana. And just even though I'm not gonna have zero, I still want to be that cold player out there making it cold for receivers on the island.
I don't know, man. I mean, you don't feel like going to Oklahoma drill against Mason Smith, for the number or something like that? I mean,
Man, I know everybody wish they could see that, but nah, I'll go back to the two is what I always wanted anyway. So I'm cool with two.
There you
all
go.
right. Well, hey, you mentioned getting into Louisiana and bringing it into Louisiana. What is something that you were just really excited about moving? And obviously, you'll be at LSU, but moving to Louisiana, being around the Louisiana culture. What is something you're really looking forward to?
Eating gumbo. I never had gumbo before, so
Oh
so
man,
gumbo was it was definitely the first thing on my list. They had gave me some gumbo when I got there, so that was great. Just being in Louisiana, being in that weather, because I was in snowstorms on every winter, so being at Syracuse, so definitely just being in the weather, getting ready for that.
Yeah, I must say you're making a pretty big weather change here. Going from
y'all
Syracuse
were lucky
to
though.
humid Louisiana.
Y'all were lucky at Syracuse though. You got that dome up there. You didn't have to play
Yeah,
in it.
yeah, but just we had to practice in in snow sometimes. Just
There you
if we
go.
had an away game, we had to play Boston College, so we had to
Yeah.
prepare in the snow
Brutal.
sometimes.
Brutal.
Yeah,
I got to ask about the stadium. Like every time I watch a Syracuse game, I'm like, this stadium just looks different. Like, I don't know if it's the lighting or what it is. Like, it looks so much different than like just a normal dome. I don't know what it is.
yeah, the atmosphere was definitely different. Just I don't know what it was. Maybe the people like how the dome is created and how it's just so compact. It was loud just being there, so it was definitely a great atmosphere there.
That's awesome. Reagan, you got any more questions?
Yeah. Well, I mean, no knock on Syracuse by any means, Deuce, but I think the atmosphere in Death Valley is going to be, quite a surprise for you, and I know you're looking forward to that. Has anybody told you about what that's like to play in Death Valley? And because I can tell you right now, we went to Death Valley at 11 o'clock kickoff for Florida, and it was loud the entire game. So there's no telling what it's like at night against Bama. Like, are you looking forward to that? And have you heard anything from that, like from the players you've hung out with?
Definitely heard about the tailgates and definitely the fans being wild, just before the game even start, and just seeing a picture of when the fans rushed the field, and you couldn't even see the green grass of the field, just the picture. So I just can't imagine how it's gonna be when I get there. Hopefully, I can get the crowd to scream, chant out "Dudes" back again. That's what That
we
was one
need
of my favorite things at Syracuse. So hopefully I can get it going at LSU.
Hey, look, if they're not doing it in the stadium, look, I'll be doing it here at home in front of the big screen. I'll do it, and then I'll hit you up later, and be like, hey, I was chanting for you. I was chanting.
look, hey, we got some connections with these students. You may have heard of them. They're the Balcony Bengals, and they sit in the student section every game. So we will let them know that you want that to happen. So
Yeah, we got
let
you.
the student section know, and then when the student section does something, the rest of the stadium's going to do it. So we're going to help you out with that.
We got you, bro.
Okay, all right. I can't wait.
All right, Duce. Well, we have certainly enjoyed having you here. Join us tonight. Get to know you a little bit, and don't worry, we got you. We're gonna get to a stadium chanting Duce before you know it.
Man, I can't wait. Go Tigers.
All right, go Tigers. Appreciate you, man. That was awesome, Reagan. I really enjoyed that. Getting to meet him, and I'm excited to get to watch the DB room, honestly. So let's talk about that, Reagan. Recently, they of course added Duce. They added J.K. Johnson, and now we know that Ovi, the linebacker from Texas Longhorns, is going to be coming and transferring into LSU. What do you make of LSU's recent additions?
Oh man, I mean, what I make of them is that they're necessary. You needed it. You needed depth within the defensive back room. You needed guys who were going to offer you more than just 1 year, and you also needed talent. And I mean, Zach, the DB transfers that are coming in, and then obviously Taviano and guys like Stamps. This is going to be a very talented room. I mean, very talented. Talk about Duce, who was just on here with us, freshman All-American. J.K. Johnson, #1 player in the state of Missouri, come out of high school, who, by the way, played with Steeples when Steeples was the head coach, along with Micaiah Wingo. #1 player in the state of Missouri, top 50 recruit, 3rd-ranked DB in the country. Talent. Denver Harris. I mean, I think he was, 5-star. I think he was like the #1 defensive back in the country out of his class. Obviously, the #1 DB in the transfer portal this year. So there's more talent. Zai from Southeastern Louisiana is 2-time FCS All-American. And, of course, Taviano is not a consensus 5-star, but has had 5-star ratings throughout his recruiting process. Yeah. So, I mean, what Brian Kelly has done in the transfer portal this year is – I dropped my truck. Okay, bud. He set himself up to begin to instead of have to use the portal every year, he set himself up to where we can start using our freshman classes like he wants to do. Yeah. Because he got guys in the portal that has multiple years, they're talented, and it sets up for the next few years to recruit and move guys right in so you don't have to use the portal anymore. And so what he did in the DB room, excellent. Absolutely phenomenal. And of course, Ovi is a need because you're thin at linebacker.
Yeah. It's kind of like when you go over to grandma's house and like there's really nothing there, and then she makes a trip to Walmart, and now now you got snacks galore. The cupboard was bare, but then grandma, aka Brian Kelly, went to the stove.
Yeah.
And now we got snacks galore. Little funny I don't know what you call that, but anyways, you're definitely a lot better off right now than you were a few weeks ago. Let's get to some of these comments, Reagan, and then I know you might have to leave or go.
My phone's at about 7%, and I'm about to pull into Sedgwick, Arkansas. So
we'll see.
So we can get to a few comments, and I do want to talk briefly before I get off about the Walker Howard. I want to comment on that before I get off. So,
all right, let's get to these comments.
And I'll make my comment.
Let's do that. Ryan said, Paso Reagan and Brother Tebow live in the building. Love it. He said, I'm here for Duce. Let's go. Tyler Townsend also joining us. Appreciate you joining us, Tyler. He said, what's up, guys? Tyler, hope you're doing good, man. Appreciate your loyal viewership. Tiger Den Sports. Hey, I don't know if you saw, but Tiger Den got a little I don't know what I'm trying to say. He got a little video clip with Jocks getting to talk about him and his show, which was awesome. Really appreciate him joining us. Golden Boot, of course. He said, welcome to LSU. Ryan said freestyle. Ryan, I'm sorry. We did not get Duce to freestyle, but I'm sure you can go find his stuff either on Spotify or Apple Music. He said he's going to be releasing some stuff soon. So
he said nothing is on there yet, but
nothing's on there yet, but hopefully soon you can go and check him out. Maybe on Spotify or I mean, who knows? Maybe it's on SoundCloud. I don't know. You know, we have a buddy that used to do rap, and he started off on SoundCloud, so you know maybe that's where he's at. Ryan said 3 of the 5 top corners in the portal are now coming to LSU. That's really impressive by LSU. Really impressive job to go and steal 3 of the top 5 out of the transfer portal. Phenomenal. The Golden Boot said, "Did you just call BK a grandma?" Yeah, but it works because you know how excited do you get whenever your grandma brings the snacks? I don't know about you, but I get pretty pumped. I get like when we go over for Thanksgiving, and then all of a sudden we get to munch down on all this like Thanksgiving like desserts and candy, like the little pretzel things with the Rolo smashed down top, and then an almond or a pecan on top of it. Phenomenal. Ryan said, "Get to the Charger."
Is that what these DBs are? A Rolo smashed on a pretzel.
Yes, exactly. Ryan said, "Get to the Charger," in my Arnold Schwarzenegger voice.
Unfortunately, I can't. A car, but
that was a good one. All right, well, we appreciate y'all commenting. Stick with us. Reagan's going to try and talk about the Walker Howard, give his reaction before he dies. So let's go ahead and do that now. We'll go to a break after this segment.
Yeah. Okay, so you want me to make my comment?
Yeah,
okay,
go ahead now.
I thought you were about
after
to sit in the
this
break.
segment.
All right, so my brief comment on Walker Howard, because I know it's obviously, you know, a hot conversation within the LSU world. My first initial thought to all LSU fans is it's going to be okay. Like, don't freak out. I think what we've seen inevitably play out is that Garrett Nussmeier has taken the second position, QB2, with Jaden's return. And if you play the scenario out in your mind, it almost makes sense for Walker to go, because you consider Jaden has this year, and then Garrett has potentially 2 more years, and he would be the guy that would have the seniority to be considered the guy next up. And you know that you could say Walker could battle it out and take it from him. Well, it seems like that's already played out. Like, he's taken QB2. Garrett has already earned that from him. So if he's already earned the position of QB2 behind Jaden, he is going to be considered the next guy up. And I don't know how much that would change from now and then, especially if Joe Sloan sticks around and is consistently your quarterback, your coach, because he's going to be improving Garrett as much as he is improving Walker. So
correct.
It almost makes sense for him to go, because you're talking potentially 3 years from now, like this season, next season, and the next, before Walker starts. I would not fret too much about this, because number one, we've seen that Garrett can let the ball fly, and it looks really nice sometimes. And the dude can throw a really pretty pass, and he's going to let it fly. under Joe Sloan and Brian Kelly, I think they can correct the turnover problem. And I think that Garrett Nussmeier's potential and his ceiling is high at LSU. And you also got to consider the receivers that are around him are going to continually make him better. So, hey, stop. You think about the recruiting wise, you now have Ricky Collins coming in behind, and then you already have a commit in the next class in Colin Hurley, who's a highly touted prospect. So you're looking at a quarterback room at LSU that LSU fans are not used to having. Like a talented group, a deep group, and just the reality of it is, Zach, with the portal the way it is, attrition like this is going to happen, and it's just something as LSU football fan, we've got to.
Are you there, Reagan?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
You're cutting in and out there, Phil. I know you're traveling. Y'all bear with us. Reagan's traveling back home.
Am I here now?
Yeah, you're good.
So recruits with the transfer portal that you love and you are dying to see get on the field, be a Tiger, may eventually hit the portal because that's just the way it is now. A guy like Walker Howard, we're dying to see be an LSU Tiger. And he's like a Louisiana kid, grown up being an LSU fan. You got too much depth. Two guys beat him out for spots ahead of him, and he goes to the portal. Like, that's just going to happen a lot now. So we just got to mentally, I think, as college football fans, not just LSU fans, because it's going to happen to every team, prepare ourselves for that for the years to come. Like, it's just going to be the way it is. You're going to have to recruit your roster now just as much as you recruit high school players. And it's nuts, but that's the reality. So don't fret, Tiger fans, about losing Walker Howard. You're going to be okay.
And I'll say this, Reagan. I was watching Pooh Bear and Ant and Daniel. I was watching the Golden Boot the other night, and Pooh Bear mentioned this. You know, he talked about how he was sorry because it seemed like every time the topic of a quarterback transferring out came up, it was always, oh, it's going to be Nuss. It's going to be Nuss. And me and you are also guilty of that. I mean, anytime that topic came up, it was, well, it's Jaden's the guy, Nuss will transfer out, and Walker's going to take over, right? And I tweeted this yesterday. We live in a day and age right now, not as much me, because I understand what players need to do in order to play and try to get what's best for them and the transfer portal and all that stuff. But we live in a day and age where there is a lot of fans that want to see loyalty out of their players, right? And we've had a lot of people freaking out because Walker Howard has left. And now they're placing blame elsewhere on Jaden and some on Nuss, and it's some of those same people. It's some of those same people that were wanting, that are wanting the loyal players. Look, you have to commend Garrett Nussmeier for what he has done. He could have taken the same route that Walker Howard did. When he came in as a freshman, he knew he wasn't going to be the guy. He knew Max Johnson was the guy. He knew he was going to have to sit and wait. And, of course, he did that. And then Jaden comes in, and now he has to wait. He had to wait this year and very, very likely, if he stays, next year, because Jaden is going to be the guy. I mean, I think we all can pretty much assume that Jaden is going to be the starter next year, unless, barring an injury or barring a big step up by Garrett. So I give my kudos to Garrett because he was put in a very similar situation that Walker was, and he stuck it out. He had to wait his year, and then all of a sudden another quarterback comes in, and now he's going to have to wait 2 years before he starts. Walker highly recruited. LSU fans loved him. I was one of them, and I'm not saying I don't. I mean, Walker's, I think, a phenomenal talent. I'm not going to be one of those guys that goes, "Oh, well, he's just not as good." And like Walker could very well turn out to be a phenomenal quarterback, but he's not here anymore, and so we have to love and support the players that are here right now. And so I commend Garrett for sticking it out. And Walker could have done the same thing. He chose not to. That's his choice. It's okay. I'm not saying it's bad one way or the other. That's what Walker decided to do because he thought it was best for him. And what Garrett thought was best for him was to stay at LSU, and that's what he has proven to do and has continued to shut up the doubters that have speculated that he was going to leave this past year and this year. And you know, nothing's all said and done yet. He may get into spring and then decide ultimately that he wants to leave. But as far as we know, Nuss is staying. And it's very likely that, you know, after the 2023 season, that Nuss would be the heir apparent in 2024 and potentially 2025 if he stayed. So, the other thing I want to say is it's just ridiculous, completely ridiculous that people are blaming and placing blame on other players and coaches for the decision that Walker made. Look, Walker came in, he expected to sit a year and then be the guy. And that didn't happen. LSU went out, they got a guy that they absolutely needed. I promise y'all. If you do not have Jaden Daniels this year, you do not win 10 games. Period. You can argue that with me all day long as much as you want to, but I promise you, if LSU had not gotten Jaden Daniels, they were not winning 10 games. And they went out, they got Jaden Daniels, they got a veteran quarterback that they developed some, that they're going to continue to develop in the next season, and you won 10 games. And Jade, if you want to go win a national championship next year, which you can do with this roster, with the roster that you have right now and the potential guys that you add later on before the final roster is set, this is a team that can win a national championship. And if you want to do that, your best option, the best chance you're going to get of guys that are on your roster was Jaden Daniels. Period. Again, if you want to argue that with me, that's fine. We can argue all day long. That's my opinion. That's what I believe. And I think there's a lot of people that share that opinion with me. So Walker made what he thought was his best decision. Jaden made the decision that he thought was best. And Garrett made the decision that he thought was best. So let's support them in the decisions that they made. We're LSU fans. Let's support the guys that decided to stay. I'm not saying hate on the guy that decided to leave, because we shouldn't do that. We should acknowledge what today is in college football and acknowledge that at that position, guys are just going to leave. It's just the nature of the game now. But let's support the guys that are here, and let's not try and place blame because a kid made a decision, an 18, 19-year-old kid made a decision for what he thinks is best for his future. There's no need to place blame on another player or coaches or whoever because Walker made that decision. I'm tired of I'm tired of hearing that on social media. I'm tired of seeing it on Twitter. I'm tired of hearing the takes. Like, you're just wrong. You're just wrong. And maybe you never see that. Oh well. You're gonna have to get this. It's what's been done. You're gonna have to live with it. And I'm supporting my guys. That's what I'm doing. Why be miserable because you didn't get what you want? Why not support the team that you have? That's what I'm gonna do. Look, let's talk about basketball. We're gonna talk about basketball. Look, it sucks the situation that LSU basketball was handed. It sucks that they had to deal with Will Wade and that whole mess, and you were stripped of basically your entire program and you had to rebuild. And it sucks that right now we're watching a team that is highly likely going to go through a losing streak. It sucks. But these are the guys that have decided to play for the 3 letters on the chest in LSU. And as LSU fans and LSU supporters, and as LSU family, LSU community, we should get behind those guys that chose to do so. And so that leads me into basketball. Look, I'm just going to be brutally honest, guys. It could be rough. And keyword could be, maybe. You know, we came into the season and I warned y'all this might be coming into SEC play. This might not be good. And they won the Arkansas game. They played a very tightly contested game against Kentucky. And then we're going, okay, all right, this team is more than what we thought. And I mentioned after Kentucky lost, look, this team very much needs to win against Texas A&M and Florida. And unfortunately, that's not what happened. Unfortunately, reality has set in for this basketball team. And we see that we're going to have to deal with a team that's going to deal with a lot of hurdles. They are. They lack depth. They lack talent. They don't lack veteran leadership, though. And that's why you see what you see with this team. They fight, man. They're gritty. You know, it kind of takes me back to, you know, Memphis, the Grizzlies back in there and kind of in the early 2000s and 2010s. Like, they weren't the most talented team, but man, they were veteran and they fought hard and they played hard. And that's what this team is with LSU men's basketball. They're not the most talented team that you're going to see under Mac McMahon and under the Mac McMahon era. But they come out and they fight hard. Now, look, the shooting is going to have to improve. It's going to have to improve. We have continually seen how their shooting affects the game, and they go through these streaks of just not being able to do anything offensively, and you can't have that. Look, you got KJ Williams, and he has been your stronghold this season. You thought you would get more out of Adam Miller. You thought you would get more out of guys like Terrell Ward, out of guys like Jalen Reed, and you just haven't. You just haven't yet. And I'm not saying those guys are bad because they're not. They're talented players, but they're young. The talent on this team right now is young. And you have to give a huge kudos to the older guys that are grinding and putting in the work. Guys like Derek Fountain and Trey Hannibal. The job that those two guys have done, you'd be 0-4 right now in the SEC if it wasn't for those guys. Unfortunately, you're 1-3, but I mean, you won a massive game against Arkansas and a game you really shouldn't have won. And I think we're going to see more of those games. I know right now it's bleak, and I know that I say it is highly likely that they're about to go on a losing streak, but the biggest thing with this team is they have veteran leadership, and veteran leadership can win you some games that you're not supposed to. I've been saying it the entire season. I said it in the preseason, and they're going to have to rely on that, and they're going to have to find better ways to score the ball. I mean, they just are. Right now, the guys that you expected to really be your scorers, they're not. You just really don't have true scorers on this team. The guy you expected to be that and to do that was Adam Miller. And unfortunately, he's just hit a slump. I mean, he's coming off a massive injury and an ACL tear. And that's hard to come back from. It's extremely hard to come back from. But we're going to continue to support them. We're going to continue to cheer them on. And no matter what happens this season, I'm not going to get down on LSU basketball. I'm going to continue to support them. I'm not going to have high expectations. I'm going to set my expectations low, and I'm going to enjoy the times when they exceed those expectations. They already have this season. I think having the record that they have right now is a phenomenal job by Mac McMahon and his coaching staff. Phenomenal job. LSU basketball doesn't look great right now, but I promise you the future is extremely bright with Matt McMahon under the helm. And again, this season's not over. We'll continue to see how they develop and how they grow as a team. We have to continue to remember that this is a brand new team that has been Band-Aid together, mash unit together, and they've exceeded the expectations. Look, and I got to be honest, I had more high expectations than I should have because of the guys that you brought in, like KJ Williams and Adam Miller returning and Cam Hayes and guys like that. I definitely kind of overlooked the deficiencies that they would have and that they do have currently. That's on me. But once you got into play, you realize what the issues were with this team. They have a hard time shooting the ball. They have a hard time shooting free throws. They have a hard time rebounding outside of KJ and Derek. But even KJ and Derek have struggled to rebound when they faced bigs in the SEC. We knew SEC was going to be where you really found out what this team is made of. And they surprised us early, and now it's kind of getting more of towards what we expected to see. Hopefully they continue to surprise us. I hope so. We'll see. Let's talk about the girls. Girls basketball, guys, and girls, I don't know what you can't be happy about. They continue to dominate, and what they started really slow against Missouri. And look, Angel Reese, I think she had 4 points going into halftime. Like, she was in danger of ending her streak of getting double-doubles. I mean, she now has 17 double-doubles. Every single game she has played this season, she has recorded a double-double. And that was in jeopardy on Thursday night. And yet they continued to fight. They're extremely deep. And so when you saw Missouri's starters come out, that's where you saw LSU begin to pull away a little bit and where the depth took advantage, and it paid off for you in the end. Missouri came close 2 times, and both times LSU's depth and talent and experience pulled away. And I can't tell you how excited I am for when they play South Carolina. I'm so looking forward to that. South Carolina is continuing to breeze through SEC opponents as they should, in the same way that LSU is doing in a like manner. You know, I know I shouldn't do it, but, you know, I've been kind of like comparing the scores a little bit. Like, okay, they play Kentucky. How much did they beat Kentucky by? We've played Kentucky. All right, they played Texas A&M. How much did they beat Texas A&M by? And honestly, right now, it's pretty similar. Like, they beat Texas A&M by 40. We beat them by 40. I think, you know, to be specific, they beat them by like 42. We beat them by 40. Like, but the margin is pretty much the same. Like, they beat Kentucky, I think, by 20 something, and we beat Kentucky by 20. Like, man, I'm really just really excited for that game. And it really just goes to show the job that Kim Mulkey has done in these last 2 years. I mean, she's, I think, 43-6 as a head coach at LSU, and that's just incredible considering what she inherited and what she came into. I mean, not a lot of people were expecting what she did last year and what LSU did last year, and they greatly exceeded expectations. And this year, they are a force to be reckoned with, and they are a problem, and they're a team that could go very deep in the NCAA tournament. Look, last year, the team that put you out, Ohio State, the girl that put you out was Kateria Poole. She's on your roster now, and she's a bench player. That's how good this team is. The team that put you out last year, the girl that was a problem for you last year and put you out of the tournament last year, she's on your bench right now. That's how good this Tiger team is. And so I am continuing to look forward to watching them. If you are not watching them and you're an LSU fan, shame on you. Shame on you. I understand. Like, I look, I can take some of the blame. Like, I haven't watched LSU women's basketball. I mean, I did very, very, very rarely back a couple of years ago, a few years ago, but Kim Mulkey is bringing this program to a level where it is getting national recognition, and it is definitely catching the attention of LSU supporters and LSU fans. So if you're an LSU fan, if you're an LSU supporter, support these girls because they're killing it right now. They're killing it. Angel Reese, dominant. Alexis Morris, how about the night that she had Thursday night? She had been kind of struggling. She didn't get the start against Missouri, and she put up over 20 points. Let me go back and look at the box score here as I pull it up. I think she led all scorers with, I think it was 26. My phone is taking forever to load. 24. I was just 2 points off. She led all scorers with 24 points, and she was awesome from behind the arch. Angel Reese, like I said, started extremely slow. She went to halftime with 4 points. She exploded for 16 points in the second half, ended with 20 points and 12 rebounds. LaDazia Williams continues to be just consistent down on the block, 6 points, 5 rebounds. Poa got the start. She didn't have a great game, but it was encouraging to see her get the start. And I think that kind of lit a fire under Alexis, and that's why you saw the performance. We've talked about Jasmine Carson. Look, Jasmine continues to do phenomenal. She just is. She plays a lot of minutes, man. She plays 32 minutes, 12 points. She's just been phenomenal all season. Flajay Johnson also has been phenomenal. Alexis, 24 points, 5 assists. She led all of LSU's players in assists. So, look, guys, I'm just really extremely pumped about this team. I don't know what else to say about it. It's been really fun to watch. But let's go ahead. Let's take a break, and then we'll come back and we'll wrap up the show.
5-Star Hero, your intro and outro music for the Tigers Avenue show. They ain't ready for that LSU. Go check out all his other music on all the major platforms. Don't forget to follow him on Instagram at Saints Anthem and at Twitter at One Nation Doty. Don't forget to check out his Facebook page for all his Saints and LSU merchandise. Can't get any better than Sarah Klein Stevens, attorney at law. Her firm focuses on the needs of the elderly and maintaining their dignity throughout the process. Here for you, here for your family. Sarah Klein Stevens, attorney at law.
All right, guys, we are back, and we're going to wrap up the show here. But first, we got to talk about the games coming up for LSU basketball and LSU women's basketball. Obviously, LSU men's basketball has an extremely difficult test for them coming up tomorrow at 3 p.m. The game will be on ESPN. Alabama is a 15.5-point favorite. Alabama, a team right now, they're number 4 in the country, and they are just cruising. Only 92% chance for Alabama to win the game per ESPN analytics. Only 80% chance for LSU. Look, I don't want to be unrealistic here. I fully expect LSU to probably get dominated in this game. I think it would be awesome to see them compete in this game. If you win, holy cow. Holy cow. What a 2 extremes. You beat Arkansas, you beat Bama, but you lose to Kentucky, Texas A&M, and Florida. Like, what the heck's going on with this team? I do not expect that to happen. But either way, I will be watching, and I'll be rooting for the team. LSU women's basketball host Auburn, and that'll be at 2 p.m. on Sunday. Auburn, not a great team. It should be a game that LSU should handle pretty easily. We'll see how it goes. Either way, guys, it has been a blast. Y'all continue to pray for Reagan and McKenna, specifically McKenna's family, as she lost her grandma a few days ago, and they had the funeral today. So I know I hate to end it on a sad note, but y'all pray for her and her family. That's why Reagan was joining us from the road today. They're traveling back from the funeral, headed home. So I appreciate all y'all's support. What an awesome show getting to have Duce on and get to talk to him, get to know him. I'm so excited about the DB room next year. I cannot wait to watch 2023 LSU football. Hey, guys, look, baseball season is right around the corner. And let me tell y'all something. I've been working hard on the LSU hype video, LSU baseball hype video, and I'm extremely excited to announce that Chris Demui will be narrating for us. I'm just so much looking forward to it. Can't wait for that to release. That'll release on Friday, game day, the first game of the season. And I hope y'all will enjoy it. All right, guys. It's been a blast. We will see y'all next Friday on Tigers Avenue. 5-Star here. Check us out. Peace.